The film opens with a man named Lao Ma and a young boy who are hunting for some snakes in the woods so that they can sell them at the market. The man catches a snake and says to the boy that it is an expensive one. Lao Ma walks ahead and puts the snake in his bag. While he does so, something huge quickly snatches the boy behind him and takes him away. Soon, the boy falls dead right in front of Lao as he panics and attempts to quickly flee the area. He looks around the woods cautiously, but then he senses the presence of a giant python right behind him. He tries to remain still, but at the same time, he accepts his fate. The snake then leaps forward and swallows Lao's body. In the next scene, we see a train filled with passengers, including a group of military personnel. One of them is named Ma Xiaoyang, who approaches a beautiful young lady named Jing Lan and tries to flirt with her, but she pays him no attention. Meanwhile, one of the soldiers sitting by the window catches a glimpse of a giant snake that vanishes as soon as he spotted it. Later, a rugged-looking man named Mu Shang enters the train compartment as he's selling some snake bone wine. Jing Lan is looking outside a window and notices how fewer trees there are in the hills outside, while we see a small snake slithering on Ma Xiaoyang's back, unnoticed by him. When the snake is about to bite him, Mu Shang manages to catch it and saves Ma Xiaoyang's life. The passengers are astonished, and a kid realizes who Mu Shang is, a famous and talented snake catcher who is the descendant of the Snake King from Yamen village. The young boy seems excited to meet him as he admires Mu Shang, and Jing Lan also seems happy as she says that she hasn't met Mu Shang in a long time. She tries to shake hands with Mu Shang, but he rejects her, saying that his hands are dirty and that it's better for her to excuse him. Mu Shang turns to leave when suddenly, the train stops out of nowhere. The passengers are confused and question why they had stopped in the middle of the mountains when the lights in the compartment start to blink and cause the atmosphere to become tense. A woman is looking out of the window when something from the outside snatches her up and the others witness her blood dripping down the window. Before they know it, many snakes start to slither in from all over the place and attack the passengers on the train. Chaos ensues, and they try to escape the situation by opening the train door and going outside, but it turns out that the situation outside is worse, as more snakes are present and slither into the train from the open door. With many snakes now infesting the train, Mu Shang has an idea to drive the snakes away and orders the passengers to peel as much garlic as they can from a box full of them and throw them on the floor. The snakes hate garlic, so they all retreat from the train. However, their moment of peace is cut short when something bangs on the door that divides the compartments from the other side. When the door breaks down, they are greeted by a gigantic two-headed snake who approaches the passengers. They are all terrified as the giant snake starts to kill many people on the train. The others manage to escape to the compartment behind them and try to block the door using some luggage, but the snake is much too strong as it breaks the door with ease and kills more people. Mu Shang and some of the soldiers try to stop the snake by spraying it with water from a fire hose, while others retreat to the roof of the train. Once the water is out, Mu Shang and the soldiers also escape to the roof and they make their way towards the train's engine. Mu Shang thinks that since it's hot in the engine room, the snakes won't come after them, but instead, the giant snake still slithers in their direction. They decide to hop off the train, and Mu Shang tells everyone to run towards the mountains. While the snake is occupied with eating one of the passengers, the others plan to create a barricade using some dry grass and alcohol, planning to light it on fire. However, Mu Shang sees that the army's leader is stumbling on the other side, so he saves him before the others light up the barricade. The barricade is a success, and the giant snake can't cross the fire. This buys them some time to run away deeper into the mountains. Daylight finally comes and the passengers take a break in the woods, as most of them are ridden with many snake bites. Mu Shang helps a boy who got bitten by opening up the bite wound and sucking up the venom from his blood. Seeing this, the army leader named Shen offers a lot of money for Mu Shang to help him next, but Mu Shang ignores his offer. Jing Lan asks Mu Shang if they can help everyone with his method, but he says that it's impossible as sucking out too much of the venom will make their tongues swollen. The others think that Mu Shang is useless, but Jing Lan defends him by saying that they won't be alive right now if it wasn't for his expertise in snakes. Mu Shang then guides the passengers towards his village, but he finds a lot of corpses and destroyed buildings, and nobody seems to be in their houses. He tries to go to his house only to find nobody there, while the others go to the temple where the living villagers are taking refuge in. The young boy reunites with his mother, Ah Zi, while Jing Lan reunites with her father, who tells them that the village was attacked by many venomous snakes last night. Mu Shang finally enters the temple and finds his mother there, who also has many snake bites. Seeing Mu Shang, the villagers are asking for the medicine for their bites, and Mu Shang's mom assures them that the pot of medicine that she's been cooking is almost done. As the amount is limited, Everyone starts to fight over the medicine, but Mushang informs them that the medicine won't be effective anymore in this state. However, they keep drinking it as they think it would at least slow down the spread of the venom. Jinglan asks Mushang for a way to save everyone from the venom, and Mushang says only the serpent flower that can be found in the Snake King Valley is powerful enough to be an antidote. However, Jinglan's father says that nobody had ever come back from the valley, but since it's the only way to save everyone, a few of them set off on a journey to get the flower. The group is rowing through a river using a couple of rafts, and Ma Xiaoyang is still trying to flirt with Jinglan, who doesn't acknowledge him. He then goes to take a leak when a fish jumps up and scares him, making him fall into the river. As the others help him up, a giant snake attacks and kills one of the men. In an attempt to kill it, one of them accidentally cuts the rope that holds the raft together, causing everyone on it to fall into the river. Zi, who is part of the group, shoots the snake with her bow and arrow, scaring it away and letting the others get on the other raft. The snake is still surrounding them and wants to attack, so Ma Xiaoyang plans to attack it with a grenade which he accidentally drops on the raft. They all get away from the raft and swims to the shore as the raft explodes. Due to the incident, the map to the Snake King Valley is soaked and ruined, so they have to rely on Mushang's instincts to reach their destination. On their way, they see a dead body killed by a snake and some snake eggs near it, which Ma Xiaoyang stomps and crushes. This causes him to get bitten on the butt by a snake, which Mushang catches and tells him that he needs to drain the venom so he wouldn't die. Moving on with their journey, they come across dead bodies which hang on trees and are enveloped in a lot of spider webs. One of the soldiers starts to scream when Zi shuts him up, as the spiders would come after them if they make too much noise. They sneakily walk across the bodies when one of the bodies falls and a bunch of spiders comes out of it. The spiders start to swarm the group as they get terrified and shoot at the ground randomly. The spiders attack one of them as the others manage to run away and enter an old temple with a python statue in it. Mushang tells the group that it is the temple of the Snake Lord, which the villagers used to worship for a long time. However, due to a snake infestation and attack that happened during a snake festival 10 years ago, the villagers stopped worshipping the Snake Lord. In the temple, Jinglan finds out that she has been bitten by a spider, so Mushang asks Zi to prepare hot water with some herbs for Jinglan to bathe in. While bathing, a snake slithers into the tub which causes her to scream. Mushang enters and throws the snake away before it bites her. Outside, one of the soldiers sees something from the window before all the candles are blown off, scaring everyone. They go outside and something starts to attack them, but they can't see anything because it's too dark. When they go back inside the temple, they are attacked with sharp needles. Mushang runs to save Jinglan, but when he gets there, she's gone from the tub. He then finds a secret door to an underground tunnel and follows it, finally reaching a room lit by candles with a big wooden box in it. He hears something from inside the box, but when he tries to open it, an old dwarf aims a sharp weapon at him. Thankfully, Ma Xiaoyang manages to point a gun at the dwarf's head before he can hurt Mushang, who opens the box and helps Jinglan, who is locked inside it. It turns out that the dwarf is also a snake hunter, so Shen asks if he knows the way to find the serpent flower. The dwarf says he knows the way, but would only show them if they agree to give him half of the flowers they will collect. They reach an agreement and the dwarf takes the group to a cave that is filled with sleeping vampire bats. After successfully passing the tunnel without waking the bats, they are faced with a deep ditch that can only be crossed using a fragile-looking wooden bridge. Seeing as it's the only way, they carefully cross it. The dwarf goes first, followed by the others who are talking so loudly that it starts to wake the bats. Zi almost falls from the bridge, and Shen stumbles and loses the bag with all of his money. Ma Xiaoyang and Mushang are crossing the bridge when it starts to collapse just as the bats start to fly their way. Two soldiers sacrifice themselves by holding the bridge as the bats eat them, for Ma Xiaoyang and Mushang to safely cross the bridge. As they continue walking, they are faced with a fork in the tunnel. They decide to split up, with one group being led by the dwarf and the other being led by Mushang. Mushang's group eventually reaches the place where the serpent flower blooms, but it is located on the cave wall with many snakes mating in a ditch underneath it. Mushang is willing to risk it and he jumps towards the wall, grabbing a hanging rope and climbing up towards the flowers. Meanwhile, the dwarf's group is led towards the giant snake which starts to attack them. Zi shoots at the snake with her arrows, but she is thrown away and attacked by it, which causes the exit to open up. The snake then coils up around her as she sacrifices herself so the others can flee while asking the others to take care of her son. In the other part of the cave, Mushang manages to collect some serpent flowers, but Shen orders him to take more with him. Mushang refuses, saying that taking too much will cause the giant snake to notice it and will come after them for revenge. Suddenly, the dwarf shows up and puts Jinglan at gunpoint. demanding that Mu Shang gives him all of the flowers he had collected. Not wanting Jing Lan to die, Mu Shang has no choice but to give the flowers to the dwarf. Meanwhile, Shen begs the dwarf to give him some of the flowers in exchange for money, but the dwarf refuses his offer. The dwarf shoots Shen, but before he can run away, the dwarf is met with a giant snake who attacks and eats him. This causes the bag of flowers to fall into the ditch, only being held by a piece of stone above all the snakes. Shen tries to take it for himself, but he fails and falls into the snake pit instead, which kills him. Jing Lan and Mu Shang manage to get a hold of the bag, so the two try to escape the cave with Ma Xiaoyang and two others. They are faced with the giant snake again, and Ma Xiaoyang decides to sacrifice himself by blowing himself up with a grenade in front of the snake. However, this fails to kill the snake, which attacks one of the villagers to death. The remaining three run away, and as the snake is about to attack Mu Shang, Jing Lan distracts it using the serpent flowers, making it follow her instead. She dodges its attack and thinks that she managed to lose the giant snake until she comes eye to eye with it as she turns around. Mu Shang runs to her aid and helps her escape. He then tricks the snake to coil around a stone pillar and taunts it with the flowers. This causes the snake to attack its own tail, injuring itself and giving time for Mu Shang to use a sword to cut its heads off. Finally saved from the giant snake, Mu Shang, Jing Lan, and a soldier returns back to the village with the serpent flowers, allowing them to cure everyone from their snake bites. They mourn for their fallen friends, but the result is worth it as we see the villagers being able to live in peace again. The end. Thanks so much for watching.